Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. Welcome to United Daily Live. We are back with another video, and today we are talking about another youngster that United could be set to snap up and Fume. Those at Barcelona, they could be absolutely angry and pissed off at this one because Manchester United are set to snap up one of their whiz kids, 16-year-old fullback Marc Dorado. We'll be looking at the reports circulating regarding that one. We'll be looking at the gossip which Real are not able to chase Paul Pogba this summer. Bruno Fernandes is in the Premier League Team of the Year. And Herrera's quotes from yesterday, which we did look at, which we can have another look at again if you missed yesterday's show. But that is what we're talking about here today on AdamMcKola TV. Who is Marc Dorado? Who is this young sensation who is United are targeting to sign from Barcelona, who has knocked back a couple of contract offers from Barcelona in favour of a move to England? Who is this fella? We'll be discovering just that today. We'll be reading up on a few articles to see where this story has come from. A lot of it, to be fair, has come from the Catalan press and come from Spain. But, you know, I don't expect any of us have heard of him because of the fact he's a 16-year-old fullback coming through the ranks, and you're unlikely to have. But Barcelona are said to be very upset by this. They don't want to lose the player, and it looks like they could be losing a player in the same manner that they lost Gerard Piqué, who eventually returned to Barcelona, Cesc Fabregas, and a number of other talents from La Masia over the years. So let's see how this one develops. We're discovering who is Marc Dorado in today's show. So make sure you're keeping it locked. You're liking, you're commenting, you're sharing, and you're getting all that good stuff in. We got someone, is that a new member or has an old member changed their name? Man United? Who is that? Let us know. But thank you for being a member anyway, whoever it is. Yagantaran says it's the next Hector Bellerin with a couple of laughing emojis. We got Ross, Cannonballer, K Murphy. Well, hello there. Will Japan, Alexander, Aaron, Inez. We got a lot of people in the house, so thank you very much for joining us. Looks like the academy is finally back to how it used to be under Fergie. Glazers ignored it for too long, says Cannonballer. Well, hello there, says what position? That's all well and good, but it seems United are only good and quick at signing the cheap youth signings. Funny they can't do the same with the proven first team signings. A little bit. I think that might be. I think overall, in the last couple of years and seasons, you're right to say that. But also, we kind of, like has been said, we kind of just overlooked the academy for a while and took it for granted. And it's good to see some forward thinking. We hear about Joe Hugo, we hear about Marc Dorado, and if they do come off, it's great to see forward thinking from those at Manchester United. So, I haven't got a problem with United doing that and getting these deals snapped up. You'd hope they'd be a lot better in the transfer market in general anyway. But, you know, I mean, I'm not concerned by that, and I think it's a good look. We've done it in the past before as well. I remember signing Rafael and Fabio, and we didn't really see anything of them for a while. And then they've burst into the first team. We've done it in the past. Paul Pogba was someone we snapped up from Le Havre when he was about 14, 15. And then obviously helped develop his potential, fulfill his potential in the academy before he eventually went off to Juventus and again came back. But you know what I mean? We've done this over the years and we've been successful in doing this. Now we need to continue doing that. And hopefully this is another one. Now let's read up on this. The reports came from Catalan media actually, and it came from Sport over in Spain, who were saying that Marc Dorado's, rejected a few offers from Barcelona, and then obviously he's agreed to join Manchester United. It wouldn't be announced yet because obviously we're in lockdown and all those kind of things, and it might be like the Joe Hugo deal, which gets put on the ice just until later on to get announced, but everything's agreed. But nevertheless, let's see what's going on. The last time Manchester United signed a youngster from Barcelona, that player went on to become one of the world's best. Gerard Piqué arrived at Old Trafford as a 17-year-old in 2004, and that same year, Marc Dorado was born. Now 16-year-old, the young right-back has rejected Barcelona's 3-year contract offer and follows in the footsteps of the World Cup winning defender who spent 4 years in Manchester before returning home in 2008. One of the most promising players of his generation, Dorado formed part of Barcelona's juvenile A side and was expected to progress to their youth team, Barca B, within the next couple of years. Born in Sabadell, just outside Barcelona, so he's a local lad. Dorado joined La Masia at the age of 7 after impressing at a local club, Can Rule, where he had played since he was 4, and he has remained there for the past 9 years. Now, in his second season with Barcelona, the youngster recorded the fastest goal as he stole the ball straight from the kickoff, raced forward to convert after just 5 seconds. Dorado is very much a modern day fullback, getting up and down the pitch with speed and skill, and also earning a reputation for his goal scoring ability, netting 6 in a season for FCB Cadet B. He is also fondly remembered for a headed goal against Real Madrid in the MIC 16 tournament, which opened the scoring for Barcelona's side as they set the Catalans on their way to a 2-0 win. Defensively, he has good awareness and positional sense, while his pace is a vital asset at both ends of the pitch. Technically, he is strong and has all the qualities you would expect from a young La Masia graduate, with the ability to beat players, good passing and link-up play. And although he's most comfortable at right back, he can also operate as a winger. Barca did not want to lose him, and all the indications are that United have a very exciting player on their hands, and possibly a man to challenge Aaron Wan-Bissaka for the right back role at Old Trafford in years to come. So that's the thoughts and the story in regards to Marc Dorado. Barcelona don't want this to be happening. They don't want to be losing this young man, and it looks like Manchester United and Oli are going to nick him off them. Again, great news for our youth setup, great news for our academy, that we're forward thinking and we're bringing in players to accompany our homegrown talent that we're bringing through the ranks. Also, when you look at it, and we'll bring Joe Hugel into this as well, when you look at it, you've got, you're bringing in a number of players now where you're starting to accompany what you have there. We don't have someone like Joe Hugel in the ranks. Marc Dorado is going to bring a little bit of, La Masia flair at right back, and bring us a little bit difference there. Now, I know we got Ethan Laird coming through, and players like that. And Aaron Gudgeon asks a good question, which says end of Delo maybe. Now, that could be a possibility, although you wouldn't expect Marc Dorado to be getting games at any time soon at 16 years old. It'd probably be a year or two down the line at the very least. You'd have to think that it could be in mind of him leaving. We'd have Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who's going to probably play every single game. And then you could possibly use Timothy Fosu-Mensah, Ethan Laird as the backup there for this season and possibly next season. And then, Marc Dorado's coming into the mix. But anybody that's coming through, with Ethan Laird coming through, hopefully his injury worries are behind him. With Aaron Wan-Bissaka there, with Diogo Dalot at the club, you're going to have to battle hard for a spot. But still at 16 years old, he's a few years behind these lads. This move is probably because Laird will be a first team player next season. So we need a good fullback to replace him in the youth setup. And that's another point as well. As players are progressing through the system, or maybe at the end of the year, United release a few or a few get moved on, you'll have to replace those players in the system. Same with Joe Hugel. You'll probably see the strikers from the 18s are going up, and they're going to be in the 23s. And then, Joe Hugel is going to be playing for the 18s. So there needs to be a constant conveyor belt of these players. And when you're bringing in someone for 250 grand in Joe Hugel, or a nominal fee in Marc Dorado, if they then prove to be successes, you've got players for a proper nominal fee. You've developed them at the club. They've got homegrown status at your club now by the time they're breaking through, and you're saving a lot of money. Whereas, Marc Dorado could have stayed at Barca or moved on elsewhere. You're trying to sign him in 5 years for 50 million. Same with Joe Hugel. He stays at Sunderland or moves on, does well somewhere else. You're trying to sign him in a few years. We spent an awful lot of money on someone like Hannibal Mejbri, and all signs are that that's going to be a one that pays off in the future. But to get these ones on the cheap as well is pretty good. And United are probably, going to be doing these kind of moves a lot more now that we have Oli in, because he's someone that it appears to be looking to the future and looking ahead. That's not to say other managers didn't do that, because they did. But it's good to see this kind of transfer happening again. Daffod's late again. How dare you. Another right back, already have the load, Timbo and Laird. He's 16. He's 16, Dara. He's not going to be playing anytime soon. I haven't got a problem with that. And like was said before, if Ethan Laird moves on into the first team, you're going to need someone below that, you know, to come in and help. Guys, get hitting that like button, get commenting, get sharing. We're now not very far away from our first 50 members on AdamMcKola TV as well. So click join if you want to find more about that. Troy says Delo could be converted to a backup right winger, but he'll probably be sold. Has Delo been another Darmian, says Russ? I don't think so. He's had injuries, but he hasn't really played as much, and he hasn't had, you know, like Darmian, he was great at the start, but then he had a few games where you just looked at him and thought, he's not a United player. And I don't think Diogo Dalot's had that yet. I don't know, he might have to you guys, but to me personally, I haven't had that with Diogo Dalot where I thought he doesn't look like a United player. To me, he's always looked like someone that's very raw, but you can probably get something out of him. Now, if we weren't having Aaron Wan-Bissaka at right back, we're probably looking at Diogo Dalot a little bit differently. But because we do have Aaron Wan-Bissaka, it makes the way we look at him probably like, all right, where does he come in? Is he up to scratch? Is he going to be able to play for United? So there you go. Yeah, Darmian played a lot more. Although 2 Tears calls it Darnian. Which reminds me of the Peep Show yesterday. I was watching Peep Show and his son's name's Ian, isn't it? Ale de Nikanaka. What's that? What's that, FC? Callum's late as well. Do you think Ighalo will sign permanently, says James? We discussed this in this week's Weekly United Now. You know, at the back, when the season got called to a halt, I was pretty certain he was going to be called up. I was pretty certain he was going to be called up, but he didn't. Now, sorry, not called up, signed up. Now, obviously, things have gone different. Is his loan going to be extended? Is he going to be able to complete the season with us if it's completed behind closed doors? What's going to happen with him now? No one really knows. United might have a target for somebody else elsewhere, where they're probably thinking, can we get him in? But if I was United, I'd sign Ighalo personally. I think you'd probably be able to get him for around 10 to 15 million pounds. If he stays at Manchester United, you've got someone there that's a good plan B option, is willing to fight for the club, fight for a position in the team, willing to provide that competition to the others. And he's not a long-term gap, he's not a long-term solution either. So you don't have to be worried about Mason Greenwood or Martial or Rashford's, you know, development, because they're going to get that game time still. So I would like to see us sign Ighalo, but I'm not 100% sure as I was at the back end of the season. The thing that interests me in PSG wanting Delo, so do they see a player in there that we haven't been seeing, says Ross. Yeah, probably the player that helped knock them out of the Champions League. The BBC reported that United offered Angel Gomez 300 grand. That is bollocks. That is utter bollocks. Man like Adam, what he's saying. Yes, Joe, how you doing, brother? That's full of shit. That's not true. It can't be true. United wouldn't offer 300 grand a week to a young kid. Are you mad? Why wouldn't we have give Herrera the money that he wanted then? Why wouldn't he have done that? Did you guys see Bruno Fernandes being in the BBC's Team of the Year last year? What did you guys make of that? Thought that was quite funny. Joe, there isn't any logic in that because it's absolute rubbish. I wouldn't be surprised if it was on the gossip column and then it's been posted as fact by somebody else from the BBC. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 30k. I imagine 30k is probably the going rate for a player of his ability and his age. I don't think that's an issue at all, but 300 grand, I doubt that at all. I wouldn't even believe that story if it was out there. Not a bad 15 mil considering he loves United. I hope we sign him, says James. Sancho to United, says Colin. Um, Hoping so. We don't know what's going to happen yet, but I feel like that one could happen. But I don't want to count my chickens yet. Bruno completed the hardest league in the world in 5 games. So he's blur. Sancho would be number 1, but we might regret getting rid of Delo if we get injured. A lot of people think Delo could play further up the field, which is obviously an interesting point as well. Now let's look at this story regarding Paul Pogba. Oh, we've always got a story about Paul Pogba, haven't we? Let me just have a look. Why isn't the search function working? Right. Right. Here we go. Cost-cutting Real Madrid call off Pogba chase. Now the talk is Real Madrid are ending their pursuit of Paul Pogba because of the fact they're cutting back. So Real Madrid have cooled their interest in Manchester United midfielder Paul Pogba as a result of the coronavirus pandemic, Marca has revealed. Pogba has been heavily linked with a move to Madrid throughout his entire career, and Los Blancos seem to be his most likely destination this summer. The France international has been considering his Old Trafford future for the past 12 months after being feeling let down by his boyhood club's lack of ambition. However, the financial implications of the coronavirus are expected to be severe, and now almost every club around the world is looking to cut costs. Is expected to bring an end to eye-watering transfer fees and will likely force Pogba to stick out another season at United. While Zidane would relish the chance to sign Pogba, the 2018 World Cup winner has dropped down Madrid's list of targets. Madrid have already ruled out a sensational return for Juventus striker Ronaldo and are no longer in the running to sign Pogba. Zidane's side are instead looking at signing another of Mino's clients, Erling Haaland. The Norway international has been a revelation this summer and has continued his exceptional goal scoring since joining Borussia Dortmund in January. Pogba, meanwhile, has barely featured this season due to an ankle injury, but has recently revealed he was looking forward to returning and becoming the best in the world at United. The 27-year-old is the only player in the Premier League this season with a 100% through ball success rate with 5+ completed. A nice little stat at the end of that story in regards to Paul Pogba. Now again, I'm not surprised if Real Madrid cannot afford this fella. I'm not surprised if Juventus cannot afford this fella. And I'd be delighted if Paul Pogba stays at Manchester United for next season. Our best player, in my opinion, our best midfielder, in my opinion. We've had Ole Gunnar Solskjaer talking about building a team with him and Fernandes, and that's obviously something great to hear. So for me, yeah, let's keep Paul Pogba at the club. And if this happens, all right, so whatever the reason, so be it. So let's look at this. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is in no doubt Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes will thrive linking up in Manchester United's midfield, believing good players can always play together. It was reported this week FIFA are investigating the transfer. I forget that. We've seen that before because Sampdoria are owed 10% sell-on clause on any profit, and Sporting haven't paid them yet, the wankers. Solskjaer is keen to get the player back out onto the pitch, where his stellar performances earned him the Premier League Player of the Month award for February prior to the lockdown. And he will have a chance to develop a strong understanding with Pogba, whose season had been wrecked by 2 ankle injuries. When asked about the prospect of playing Fernandes alongside Pogba in midfield for the remaining games, Solskjaer said good players can always play together, so definitely they can. It's a big yes. I think it's exciting. We do have an exciting squad. I've got Fred, Scott, Nemanja. There's many games coming up, and I'm sure we can find a good connection between them. We've been discussing that as a coaching team, of course, and we're looking forward to it. Of course, Bruno coming in making the impact he made. It was a boost for everyone, the club supporters and players. Getting Paul and Marcus back would be fantastic. Paul has had a difficult season with injuries, and Marcus as well is getting back. So for us and for them too, this gives them a chance to start on a par or even ahead of other players. And he's also gone on to say we're always looking to sign and improve the squad. Solskjaer said he's happy with the current squad. I'm sure that's just playing games. But he did say we're always looking to improve the squad. There's uncertainty in the market now. Who knows how football in the market is going to be. I'm very happy with the squad I've got. Sounds like he wants to keep Ighalo, but who knows what happens with that situation. But the most important thing for me is you've got Ollie and Michael Carrick and Mike Phelan sitting at home running simulations on Football Manager of the best formation with Pogba and Bruno in the team. I've just got to the second summer of my Man United. I won the league in my first season, which is incredible, to be honest. I'm doing the series for this channel, which is going to go out. The first episode is going to go out tomorrow, so that'll be out then. So make sure you're keeping it locked for that. Yeah, I'm going to try and make that more interactive. But first season I won the league, and then by a point on the last day of the season ahead of Arsenal. Don't know why Liverpool Man City are so shit on that game. The game's too easy with United. I need a new challenge. But won the league. And then Scott McTominay wanted to discuss a contract, but he wanted to start every game. And I've just signed Thomas Partey, got Paul Pogba, got Bruno Fernandes, got Fred, got Scott. Scott was playing a fair amount of games for me. Probably played about 25 starts, 25 sub appearances. But nevertheless, started demanding stuff, and I knocked it back. Then we couldn't agree a new deal, so I sold him. Sold Daniel James because he wasn't happy with his lack of playing time since Jadon Sancho coming. Sold him. Brandon Williams got unsettled by Watford. I don't know how that worked out. He's my first choice left back all season, and he got unsettled because Watford made a bid for him. But I'm not selling him. And then I bought Grealish, Maddison, and Heung-min Son from Spurs, because Spurs had him up for sale for 40 million. But I don't know why I bought him. It was a vanity signing. I shouldn't have bought him. It's imbalanced my squad. But Ighalo left. Ighalo was crap on that. So Ighalo left. So I kind of justified it by saying he's my second striker, even though he agreed to be a star player. That one's going to get booky as the season goes by, because Martial's my main man. He was my top goal scorer. Scored like 35 goals in his first season. Cutthroat McKola, says Al. Jess is on the sales list. Rojo's gone. Bearman got sold still. Brought in some decent players. Midfield of Matic, Pogba and Bruno would be sound. I agree with that. It'd be almost like Matic, Herrera and Pogba, but a little bit more, a little bit better, because Bruno's better than Herrera, isn't he? Although Herrera's fantastic, and I miss him. Why won't Pogba do a press conference in the real? Well, he's not going to do a press conference at the moment. I imagine the next press conference we'll see is when he signs a new deal for whatever club that is. Would you like to see Greenwood and Marshall up front together next season? In some games you could possibly do it, and you could possibly put Rashford and that. But if we sign Jadon Sancho, we're not going away from the 4-2-3-1 or the 4-3-3. We're going to be playing that more often than not. Keep Jones. No, I sold Jones to Shanghai Shenhua. Bought him, I think. Hope you're doing well, Night Whisper. Good to have you back in the chat. Did anyone read Ander Herrera's quote yesterday about not wanting to leave United? What did you make of them? I was a bit disappointed by them, to be honest. He could have stayed at United. We covered them in the weekly United as well. Even if Pogba's still here, can still get Sancho. It's not like they play the same position. It says Ross, Manoj, how you doing? Sam, what did you miss? We've been looking at the reports that Manchester United are going to steal Marc Dorado from under the noses of Barcelona, the young 16-year-old fullback who's been well highly rated as his age. He's been linked with a move to United. Knocked back Barcelona's contract offer on multiple occasions, and Catalan press are reporting he's set to join United. It comes after reports that we're about to sign Joe Hugo, and it kind of shows a little bit of forward thinking in the transfer market, snapping up two young lads at 16-year-old for nominal fees, which will either have, you know, a greater salon value in the near future, or they'll become first teamers for United, and we would have got bargains on our hand. So well done to the club for getting these kind of deals done. That's not to say I've seen much of these players. I've only looked at them since, you know, United have been linked. You wouldn't expect many people to know about 16-year-olds that play for Barcelona and Sunderland. especially if they're Man United fans. But from what we see and what we read, they're highly rated and they're good players. So that can only be good for Manchester United to be bringing them into the academy, hopefully helping them improve and develop them. But it's a no-lose situation because you haven't spent an awful lot of money on bringing them in. So yeah, very good signs from the club. Real Madrid are calling a halt to their chase for Paul Pogba. That's some of the gossip today. Because obviously they can't afford it with the coronavirus pandemic and going to focus their attentions elsewhere, and likely to be Erling Haaland now. His release clause is believed to be around £60 million, which is probably a more realistic transfer in this market. Would you have a crack at Coutinho? I wouldn't. It's not for me, Tom. I don't think we need that kind of player at the club at the moment. We don't need a 10. You know, if Pogba left and you couldn't get Grealish, couldn't get Maddison, then maybe, but not for me. We've got almost 200 people in the house. Get hitting that like button, get commenting, get sharing, get subscribing, get joining if you can to AdamMcKola TV. We're trying to hit 50 members by the end of May. So if you can join, click that join button and get on it. The United man's back in the hizzy. What's good? Top 3 realistic signings you would like and feel could happen. Hashtag Pogba stays. Top 3, Jadon Sancho, Ighalo. And I think that will probably be the end of our business this summer. But I wouldn't be surprised to see us make a move for Jack Grealish if we could A, afford it, and B, fit him into the squad. I would love to see him still sign for Man United, but you never know. You never know. Someone wants to see the updates on Jack Grealish. What are the papers saying on him at the moment? He's been given advice on a transfer. Oh yeah, I've seen that story actually. He had liked the picture which was posted by Manchester United's Instagram yesterday. That's the latest on Jack Grealish. That's how far it's got. It's still interesting to see him liking those kind of pictures. You know what I mean? I wouldn't like any other pictures from any other clubs, but I'm a United fan. I'm not a player at all. But it's weird to see players doing that. But nevertheless, it doesn't really mean anything, does it? It doesn't mean anything at all. He's not going to be tapping up a move to United by tapping on all of our pictures on Instagram. And then what's our social media manager going to say? Hey, look, lads, Jack Grealish is liking all our pictures. I think we should sign him now. Otherwise, all players would just be out there liking pictures of the teams that they wanted to join, wouldn't they? But it is an interesting one. Of course it is. We've gone too far with Bellingham to pull out now. That's what she said. Al says in the comments, true say Adion must stay. Reports are that Grealish will play right winger, then it look like there's no space for Jadon Sancho. Glenn's popping off now. Thank you very much for tuning in today, Glenn. Thank you very much for rejoining AdamMcKola TV as well. Appreciate your support, pal. 2 years, Villa will never accept that. The Blair says 2 years. 2 tiers. Oh, Grealish for Lingard, sorry. And Perret, yeah. Villa ain't accepting that. They're going to want cash money. Cash money. Thoughts on the Owl look like Kyle Walker being an absolute bellend yet again, says the Owl. Yeah, he's an idiot. He's made some mistakes, but at the same time, like, his family don't deserve that, and he doesn't deserve to be followed around and stalked and all that. No one does. These guys are just human at the end of the day. And it wasn't long ago that everyone was talking about the television presenter that passed away and talking about being nice and all this rubbish. And now they're hounding this fella around. It's like football players are treated differently to the rest of the world. Not just footballers, but especially in this country, it's like they're not allowed to have feelings or emotions or anything or make mistakes. They have to be perfect. And it's not always the case. Now, Kyle Walker, look, I'm not condoning or anything that he's did. No one should really be visiting family. No one should be having hookers around, that's for sure. But he made those mistakes. Now, his family don't deserve paps outside their house following their every move. How must they feel, young women and even elderly women that are at home and they might have paps outside their house, or, you know, Kyle Walker's a young lad, he must feel trapped inside his house if you're looking outside and you got people following you and shit. So it's a weird one. Look, he deserves to be reprimanded and told about himself for what he's done. Of course he does, but he doesn't deserve that treatment as well. I don't think anybody does. So there you go. Villa have got money though. They need a team. Don't agree there. So it's 2 tiers. They do have money, but ultimately Jack Grealish is gonna go. It's simple as that. He's gonna leave Aston Villa, and when he leaves Aston Villa, you know they're gonna want the most money for him. I doubt they'll accept a player swap. Jesse Lingard would be a decent signing for Aston Villa, and so would Andreas Pereira if they stayed in the Premier League. But I can't see them taking a swap deal. They're gonna want pure money. Anyway, guys, make sure. Nah, that's not right. I told you to. Sorry. I sometimes agree with what you say, but his family don't deserve it because of Walker. How is how is how is karma? How is if I do something and then something happens to my mom? Karma. Surely karma should be coming back to me, right? Same with Carl. I don't get that. He is like 30, and he does need to pull himself together. But people still have issues. You know what I mean? We're not all perfect, man. All I'm saying is, for his mistakes, 2 wrongs don't make a right. And I'm never going to defend paps and journals like that hound people. I'm never ever going to defend that. Never ever. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching AdamMcKola TV. Make sure you like and comment and share and subscribing to the channel. We'll be back with another United Daily tomorrow as well as that Football Manager content. And later on today, we've got Straight Up MUFC with myself and D. Make sure you're tuning in for all of that good stuff. Yesterday, we had the Weekly United go out as well, where we looked at Bruno Fernandes in the Team of the Year and all that other good stuff. So if you want to go check that out, or anything else we did recently, excuse me, then go and do that. But if not, thank you for watching. I'm out of here.